Did you know that there's a weird group of people that have no fingerprints? Neither did I, until I investigated the Scotsman who invented fingerprinting. It's a story of twists, turns, arches, swoops and whorls, as well as intrigue. And of course, being Scottish, it goes without saying that there's some bitter sadness along the way. So if you're interested in the people, places and events in Scottish history, then click the subscribe button at the bottom right of the screen and ring the notification bell to be told when I upload new videos. In the meantime, let me tell you a story. This is the Japanese embassy in Edinburgh. If you're wondering why it's linked to fingerprinting, then stick around. You see, not only will today's story take us to Japan and back, but before this was the Japanese consulate, it was the home of the father of forensic medicine. He was Scottish. I'll tell you more about him in my video, The Scotsman Who Was the Real Sherlock Holmes. There'll be a link at the end. But today's story is about another Victorian Scotsman who doesn't get the recognition he deserves. In Ayrshire, there's a town called Beath, and in that town there's a street called New Street, and this is it. Of course, it's not as new today as it was on the 1st of June 1843. That's the date that Henry Faulds was born in a comfortably off Presbyterian family. When he was 12, life became considerably less comfortable because of the fraudulent collapse of the City of Glasgow Bank. That was in the good old days when dodgy bankers were sent to jail. So now the young Henry Faulds has to leave school, get a job as a clerk, then as an apprentice with a shawl manufacturer. Eventually, he made enough to go to Glasgow University and study maths, logic and classics before changing to study medicine, for which he went across town to what became Strathclyde University. By the time he was finished there, he was nearly 30. Not only had he got a medical licence, but he'd also got religion. Better become a missionary then, eh? Off to India to become a Church of Scotland medical missionary in Darjeeling. More tea, vicar? What about sake? In 1873, he married Isabella and just before Christmas headed off to Japan, where he established the first English-speaking mission to Japan, opened a hospital, started a teaching facility, founded a society for the blind, set up lifeguard stations, wrote 2 travel books and 3 magazines, started a school for the blind, stopped a rabies epidemic, helped stop a cholera epidemic and cured a plague of fish. It wasn't like a plague of fish, like fish swarming up the high street. It was the fish who had the plague, like in a fishmonger's shop. The point is that as other Scotsmen like Thomas Blake Glover and Henry Brunton were transforming Japan, Henry Faulds was making his own impact. I'll leave a link top right if you want to come back and watch a video about the incredible Thomas Blake Glover. The point is that Scotsmen had their sticky little fingers all over Japan. Oh, that's right, fingerprints. Henry Faulds also took an interest in archaeology, because of course he did. Anyway, he went on a dig with an American archaeologist pal, and on that dig, Faulds noticed the ancient pottery that he dug up had markings of lines and swirls captured from the potter's fingers in the clay when it was wet, retained as it dried, and preserved over the centuries as fossilised fingerprints. Of course, he didn't call them fingerprints, but a few months earlier, when he'd been lecturing students on touch, he noticed the swirling ridges on his own fingertips, and he made the connection between these and the ridges created by the ancient potters. Over the next couple of years, he delved into investigation of fingerprints with a scientific approach. He shaved the ridges off his own and some medical students' fingers, and they grew back in exactly the same pattern. When there was an epidemic of scarlet fever precipitating skin peeling, he watched the finger ridges grow back in exactly the same pattern. He recorded babies' teensy weensy fingers and watched them grow with unchanging patterns. Over time, he came to the conclusion that each person has a unique fingerprint. Now, I know that seems obvious now, or does it? Imagine you were the Swiss woman who in 2007 tried to enter the US but fell foul of biometric identification and got turned back at the border because you had no fingerprints. Don't talk daft, everyone's got fingerprints. Well, it turned out 8 other members of her extended family didn't have fingerprints either. Imagine it's 2017 and you're this 66-year-old bloke whose bank's introducing biometric security, but after repeated attempts to scan your fingers, the machine found no discernible pattern. What would you say? I tell you what you'd say. Adermatoglyphia, that's what you'd say. Adermatoglyphia is a condition that affects a small number of people around the world who got missing or non-existent fingerprints. Sometimes it's congenital, sometimes it's acquired. There are various genetic medical conditions that cause some people to lose their fingerprints. And given the modern world and the discovery by the Swiss woman in the American border, adermatoglyphia has become known as immigration delay disease. I'm told that brown skin or a Mexican accent creates the same symptoms. Of course, nobody knew all of this in early 1880. When Faulds made his discovery, he wrote to the elderly Charles Darwin. There's another guy who got his big ideas from unrecognised Scots. Darwin said that it was too much for him, but he'd passed Faulds' letter on to his cousin Francis Galton, who sent it to the Anthropological Society in London. Nobody was interested, but Faulds had tested his theory in practice. When the Tokyo hospital was robbed of some surgical alcohol, a sticky fingerprint gave the culprit away. And when the offender confessed, this was the first time ever that a fingerprint had proved the guilt of a crime. Soon after, a thief climbed the wall near Faulds' house and left sooty fingerprints on the whitewashed surface. The police arrested the likely suspect, but when Faulds took his fingerprints, it turned out that they didn't match the ones on the wall. When they found the real culprit with matching prints, this was the first time both innocence and guilt were proven by use of the same fingerprints. Faulds wrote to the journal Nature his paper on the skin furrows of the hand was published on October the 28th, 1880. He made 2 observations. 1. When bloody finger marks or impressions in clay, glass, etc. exist, they may lead to the scientific identification of criminals. And 2, a common slate or any board or smooth surface of any kind spread over very thinly and evenly with printer's ink is all that's required to take fingerprints. This was the first time anyone had suggested how fingerprints could be used to find criminals. And he suggested that registers should be kept of the forever unchangeable finger furrows of important criminals. Henry Faulds was recognised for his insightful discovery and lauded as the inventor of fingerprinting. Only he wasn't. Not long after Faulds' paper was published, a British civil servant called Sir William Herschel wrote to Nature from India, claiming that he had been using fingerprints as a means of identity for ages. He just had never mentioned it. Did I tell you my name was Sir William Herschel? Did I tell you that I'll be doing some Stories of Scotland stand-up comedy shows in 2024 in Scotland, Canada and maybe even England? Click the link top right or the description for all the details. When Faulds came back to Britain in 1886, he offered his fingerprinting system to Scotland Yard. They weren't interested. Neither were other police forces. 2 years later, Galton, remember the guy to whom Darwin had passed our boy's letter 6 years before? The boy who didn't think anything of it. Well, that guy wrote a paper for the Royal Institution. Coincidentally, it's about just the stuff that Jock was talking about 6 years earlier. But I used the extensive data produced by Sir William Herschel. The Jock mentioned it in the letter he sent, you say? Well, I'll be. Now fingerprint was considered by an 1894 parliamentary committee, and it was put into use in the courts in 1895. In 1901, a former colleague of Galton, the Commissioner of Police at Scotland Yard, called Edward Henry, set up a fingerprint bureau. Sir William Herschel, Francis Galton and Edward Henry were credited with developing fingerprinting. This led to an already simmering row with Henry Faulds heating up to boiling point. In the years that followed, Faulds published books and papers trying to vindicate his position and his precedence. His better connected adversaries later accepted that he'd been the first to postulate fingerprinting in the solution of crime, but they said that he hadn't provided sufficient data. It's like a teacher saying that you don't get marks for the correct answer unless you show you're working. As he grew older, the conviction that he'd been cheated ate away at him. When Galton was elevated to a Knight of the Realm, Faulds wrote to the Home Secretary Winston Churchill to ask for his. When he was refused, he had his MP put questions to Churchill in the House. He lived out an embittered life as a police surgeon in London and then in Stoke-on-Trent. In 1930, unable to practice medicine due to infirmity, he died in diminished financial circumstances. He came up with an insightful solution that we take for granted today. He was the first to publish, but somebody stole his thunder. The thing is, thieves don't leave fingerprints on thunder. So often, the contribution of unheralded heroes like Faulds from small places like Beath are left forgotten. But we remember him. And the people of Beath do too, because on the 12th of November 2004, this memorial was dedicated to his memory here in Beath, just round the corner from New Street where he was born. I promised you a video about the Scotsman who was the real Sherlock Holmes, and it's coming up on screen. Click top right to support the channel by becoming a Patreon member or buy me a coffee in the description below. Ha mín dóchas go mbeadh live. Sherry and Rasta.